A clash that shook the world. Helen Mirren crushes ageism in an epic showdown. A storm was brewing, and no one saw it coming. To stage was a battlefield's sleek round table gleaming under harsh studio lights, vibrant backdrop pulsing like a living heartbeat. This was no ordinary talk show. It was a gladiator's arena where ideas clashed, egos shattered, and only the fiercest stood tall. On one side, a panel of hosts armed with sharp tongues and sharper motives. On the other, a lone titan, a woman whose name was synonymous with greatness. When ageism dared to challenge Helen Mirren, only one warrior walked away victorious. Head held high backstage, Helen Mirren, at 78, was a vision of unyielding power. A living legend. Her shelves sagged under the weight of an Oscar, 4 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, 2 BAFTAs. Clad in a navy suit that screamed elegance, her silver hair swept back like a crown, she radiated authority. She flipped through notes about her latest film, a heart-pounding action thriller, where she played a fearless operative who didn't just break expectations, she pulverized them early. Buzz was electric. Critics called her performance a masterclass in dominance, but whispers from the crew hinted at trouble. A makeup artist overheard Sunny Hostin, one of the show's hosts, sneering backstage, her voice dripping with condescension. Let's see if Grandma can handle real questions. The words were a venomous jab laced with ageist scorn. Word reached Mirren before she stepped into the spotlight, and those close to her knew the lioness was poised to roar. The show exploded into life with its usual fire. Whoopi Goldberg's warm laughter filled the air. Joy Behar's biting wit snapped like a whip. Sarah Haynes tossed quips with a grin. Alyssa Farah Griffin nodded along, ever the peacemaker. But Sunny Hostin sat with a glint in her eye like a prosecutor, ready to pounce the audience. A mix of diehard fans, curious newcomers, and a few skeptics clapped as the panel wrapped their opening banner. The energy crackling like a live wire. Then came the moment that would set the world ablaze. Please welcome the legendary Dame Helen Mirren. Whoopi's voice boomed with raw admiration, and the crowd erupted in a roar, not the polite clap reserved for lesser guests. Mirren glided onto the stage, her smile radiant yet sharp as a blade, shaking hands with each host before settling into the guest chair. Every move was deliberate, every glance calculated. Her eyes scanned the panel like a queen assessing her court. Her presence filling the room before a single word escaped her lips. Helen, wonderful to have you. Whoopi began, her tone brimming with respect. Your new action thriller looks incredible. Tell us about this role, a woman defying odds in a world of spies and stunts. The audience leaned in, hungry for Mirren to spill details on a character already hailed as a game changer. But before Mirren could dive in, Sunny Hostin cut through the moment like a knife. Helen, let's get real, she said, her voice laced with patronizing smirk. A 78-year-old woman doing action scenes. Don't you think that a bit unrealistic? Aren't you worried about setting expectations? Most women your age can't meet. The air turned heavy. The studio falling into a tense hush. A few audience members shifted, some wincing at the bluntness. Mirren paused, her gaze locking onto Sunny with a calm that felt deadly, like a predator sizing up its prey. Unrealistic for whom exactly? Mirren asked, her voice smooth but edged with steel, each word a perfectly aimed arrow. Sunny, undeterred, leaned forward, her smile cold for women your age. She said, doubling down, most are retired, dealing with grandkids, health issues, not doing fight scenes. Mirren's head tilted, her expression unreadable, yet commanding like a storm about to break. Most women my age aren't Supreme Court justices either, yet we have one. She fired back, her retort swift and razor sharp. Should she step down for being unrealistic? The crowd let out a soft wave of applause rippling through. Sunny blinked, caught off guard, but she wasn't ready to retreat. That's different, she pressed, her tone hardening. That's intellectual work you're doing, physical stunts. Doesn't that feel a little desperate? The word desperate landed like a grenade. The studio silent, except for gasps. Murmurs spread to the crowd. Mirren leaned forward slowly, her presence swelling until it seemed to swallow the room. Say that again, she commanded, her voice carrying decades of authority. Sunny hesitated, her confidence cracking. I said it feels desperate. She tried, her voice weaker. Mirren cut her off, her tone icy and unyielding. No, say again. Call me desperate to my face. With conviction, the studio went still, the tension so thick you could hear hearts pounding. Sunny shifted hands, fidgeting, her bravado crumbling under Mirren's piercing stare. In just asking questions, she deflected, her voice faltering. Mirren's eyes didn't flinch. You're not asking questions, she said, her words slicing the air. You're making judgments dressed as questions. There's a difference. Say it again. Call a 78-year-old working actress desperate to challenge. Was a gauntlet thrown down in the arena's heart. Sunny opened her mouth, but no words came. She was frozen, exposed, her armor cracking under Mirren's relentless gaze. The crowd held its breath. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up. Joy leaned back, smirking. Sarah looked like she wanted to vanish. Alyssa stared at her, Notes as if they held the secrets of the universe. Mirren pressed on her voice steady. But searing, you know what's really desperate? A 54-year-old woman tearing down a 78-year-old. To feel relevant, that's desperate. The audience erupted gas applause. A few cheers. Breaking through, Mirren raised a hand, silencing them instantly. Her authority, absolute. Let me educate you, Sonny. She continued, her tone calm, but unyielding. I've been working. Since before you were born, I played queens, maids, killers, saints, age. Hasn't stopped me. Small minds like yours have tried, but they failed. Every time Sonny tried to rally, her voice weak. I'm not limiting you, she said. But the words rang hollow. Mirren's eyes flashed a spark of fire in their depths. Aren't you? She countered. You're telling me to retire. Because I'm old. You're saying I'm embarrassing myself by working. That's not limitation. Joy jumped and tried to defuse the tension. I don't think she meant it like that, Helen, she said, but... Mirren cut her off with a glance that could halt a charging bull. She meant exactly what she said, Joy, and I wanted to own it. Say it again, Sonny. Tell me I'm too old to work the challenge. Was a blade sharp and gleaming? Sonny was faltering under its weight. She tried another dodge, her voice tinged with desperation and worried about exploitation. She said Hollywood using older actresses for shock value. Mirren's laugh was low, cutting, devastating exploitation. She repeated, her tone dripping with disdain. I've won an Oscar, 4 Emmys, 3 Golden Globes, 2 BAFTAs, not as a gimmick, but as a professional. At my peak, you want exploitation. You invited me here to discuss my work, then attack my right to do it. Because of my age, that's exploitive. Sonny's face flushed, her composure unraveling. That's not what's happening, she insisted, her voice now unmistakably desperate. Mirren's gaze was ice cold, unyielding. Then what is happening? She demanded. Explain why my age matters more than my performance. Sonny had no answer. Her silence, damning the crowd, shifted, some shaking their heads, others whispering in disbelief. Mirren didn't stop. Your researchers asked my agent for my medical records to check if I'm mentally fit for action roles. She revealed, her voice ringing with righteous fury. That's not journalism. That's ageism. The revelation hit like thunder, the crowd gasping. Louder, some shaking their heads in disgust. Whoopi looked horrified, her hands gripping the table. Sarah muttered something under her breath. Alyssa avoided eye contact entirely. Sonny stammered, grasping for defense. We verify information, she said weakly. Mirren's retort was swift, merciless. Do you check the mental fitness of younger guests or just the old ones? That's discrimination. Sonny was crumbling, her confidence shattered, but Mirren wasn't done. She turned to the audience, her voice rising with clarity that cut through the room like a beacon. This woman thinks at 78 I should vanish, that my talent, my passion, my experience mean nothing. Because I'm old, this is what ageism looks like. It's ugly. The crowd nodded, some tearing up, others clapping softly, their respect for Mirren palpable. Sonny tried one last time to salvage her position. I respect your career, Helen, she said, but the words sounded like a plea. Mirren's retort was swift, brutal. Say that again. Say you respect my career. While questioning my right to have one, Sonny faltered. The contradiction lay bare. Mirren kept going, her voice a force of nature. Yesterday, I did a 12-hour shoot with fight choreography. You sat here, judging people who's really limited. Sonny clung to her role, her voice barely a whisper. This is my job, she said. Mirren's response was crushing. Acting is mine. I don't tell you you're to anything to do yours. With that, Mirren stood, her presence towering over the panel. She stepped toward the exit, then paused, turning back with a look that could freeze fire. I'm done here, she said, her voice steady, final. But let me leave you with something, Sonny. If you're lucky, you'll hit 78. I hope no one half your age tells you you're irrelevant. But with your mindset, they might. Sonny muttered. That's harsh, her voice barely audible. Mirren's reply was a whip crack. That's karma. You're building a world where older women are disposable. Enjoy it when it's your turn. The audience exploded, standing, cheering, many in tears. Mirren added one final blow. My stunt coordinator is 72. My fight choreographer is 69. We're not outliers. We're professionals who won't let people like you set our limits. She walked off, head high, heels echoing like were drums. The crowd surging with wild applause, some wiping tears of awe and respect. Sonny sat alone, exposed her confidence shattered. Whoopi visibly shaken. So we got to go to commercial. As the screen cut to black, the impact was seismic. Social media erupted like a volcano. Mirren destroys Sonny trended globally. Clips of the exchange spreading like wildfire, especially among older women who felt seen, heard, empowered. Senior advocacy groups condemned the views. Ageism actresses over 60 flooded platforms with stories of resilience. Mirren's film saw a booking surge driven by seniors, inspired by her defiance. The internet buzz with memes. Think Pieces fan art celebrating Mirren as a warrior queen who slayed ageism with wit grace. The fallout reshaped the landscape. Sonny faced relentless backlash. Her social media drowned in criticism, while Mirren's fans crowned her a hero. The View issued a weak statement about spirited debate. But it did little to calm the storm Mirren carried on her next project. Already in motion, her legacy cemented not just as an actress, but as a force who dismantled prejudice. With surgical precision, the arena had spoken. Helen Mirren stood tall, unbroken, unforgettable. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Subscribe for more powerful stories.